Welcome back. Today we're going to start assembling the heat bed. So what we're going to do first is just prepare some rubber washers for it. And I've got a piece of inner tube tie, just a block of wood, and a couple of punches, a large diameter punch, which matches the diameter of the washers we're going to use. We're using some mudguard washers, and a small diameter punch for the inner hole. So we'll start by just cutting 8 washers. So grab a block of wood. And then we're just going to punch out the middle. So just line it up approximately in the middle with your small punch and knock out the center. And that's one washer ready, and we'll just make another 7.
So next we're going to attach some wire to the Heatbed 100K thermistor. This is a high temperature wire, so it doesn't melt under the heat bed. We're going to use some of the insulation from the high temperature wire to insulate the legs of the thermistor. The wire was taken from the Hotend cable assembly. We just snipped off 30 centimeters. So grab a pair of wire strippers and strip off around 30 millimeters of the insulation.
Put that aside at the moment. We'll be using that later on under the heat bed. And then thread on your insulation. So push it up as high as you can towards the thermistor. And then next we're going to solder the wires back onto here, and then put it under the heat bed. So now we've grabbed just a little soldering block, just something to hold it. Clamped our little thermistor in there. Grab your wires again that we just stripped, and we're just going to twist them up and cut them to length. So we're just going to solder that back onto here with a little bit of heat shrink. About 5 to 8 mils. Clamp that on the other side, and then we'll just tin them up. So just tin up your thermistor as well. And just prep a bit of heat shrink for it as well. This is a 1 mil heat shrink. And you want to cut it longer than the joint, obviously. Cut 2 pieces. Thread that on your wire. And just join your wires up. See the join there. Pull your heat shrink back. And use the heat gun to shrink it. And that's done. Now we can mount that onto the heat bed. Okay, so next we're going to tape the thermistor to the center of the heat bed. We're taping it to the underside of the heat bed, and if you flip the heat bed over, you'll see that the top side's got the tracks on it. We prefer to use this side on the top because the heat transfers better into the glass. So flip it over, so it should just be a solid copper base with a heat silk screen on it. Just place it down and put your thermistor in the middle. Grab some, I'm using 50mm Captain tape. Just grab a little piece just to hold it to start with. Just cut a little piece off. Just tape it to the middle. And just put a decent bit of Captain tape on it now to hold it. done. Now I'll just show you the length of the wire I've used. I've probably used about 30 centimeters of wire just to get us to the cable management, and I'll just solder on some cables onto that later. Okay, so now we're going to put the heat bed on the printer. So first step is going to be taking some of these 35mm M3 bolts and installing them into the heat bed. Now these are M3 bolts. They have a thread about halfway up. You need the top of the bolt to have no thread on it, so it slides easily through the hole and doesn't bind on the fiberglass when the bed's compressed. So put your first bolt through, flip it over, put a washer, spring, washer, and a nylock nut. You can't use normal nuts because they will come undone, so they won't stay tight. So do that nut pretty much all the way up to the end of the thread. You'll need a 5.5mm spanner. And these springs are similar to a pen spring, so you need 4 of those as well, I forgot to mention. You don't want the springs too hard because you don't want you want the bed to compress a little bit when the head touches it without destroying your cap and tape. So that one's pretty much on. We'll just do the other 4 and then we'll mount it onto the printer. Okay, so we mounted the 4 screws on with the springs, so you can see the spring assembly there. So there's a washer, pen spring, and a washer, mudguard washer I should say, a nylock nut. Now we're going to put another washer on the bottom, another set of 4 washers. We're going to put a rubber washer, the ones we cut earlier. And then we're going to grab some insulator. Now I'm just using a standard cotton wool ripple. You can get it from the supermarket, and it'll survive the temperature fine, so it won't have a problem with 120, 130 degrees. So something like that underneath. So flip it over. Put your screws through. You might need to fluff up the cotton wool a bit. So underneath, we put, I might actually take it out. So flip it upside down, that's it. So underneath, put a washer, rubber washer, mudguard washer, and another nylock M3 nylock nut. Repeat that for the rest. And do them up. Again, you need your 5.5 spanner. So we're just going to compress those 2 rubber washers around the aluminium base. And we're not going to tune it up yet, so you don't have to do it too tight. Moving around a bit. It's not quite thick enough, it's just coming out of the bag, so it needs a bit of time to expand. And that's pretty much ready to put back on the printer. And later on we can solder the wires while the bed's in place. So that's pretty much ready to go.